I was 19 when I started my relationship with God. I feel like for me, He has told me different things about why certain things have happened. He takes something that was meant to be negative in your life, or takes something that was meant to be bad, and kind of, shift it around for your good. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Yasherica, and today's video is going to be about how I found God as a teenager. Now, not a lot of young people or in the younger crowd have that relationship with God. It usually is when they get older, when they go through different things, or like that midlife crisis and stuff like that is usually the time where people go and try to form their relationship with God. But I think that it's important to start it at a younger age, because it has definitely helped me. Now, there have been times where I've tried in the past, and it just wasn't long lasting, or I've tried to read the Bible. I've read a few of the verses, or maybe a chapter, and just stop. So I've tried in the past, but now it's much more consistent. And so I'm gonna go through a story time of when I was 19. I was 19 when I started my relationship with God. And when I say relationship, it's not just about my religion, or believing in God. It's kind of like keeping Him around, continuing to keep Him around, continuing to thank Him or praise Him, and different things like that. So that's what I mean when I say relationship, because I've always believed in Him, but I didn't keep Him around as much. And I think it's good to have Him around and still kind of thank Him, even though you have different things going on. Because I feel like for me, He has told me different things about why certain things have happened. He don't tell me right then, but as time go on, eventually I feel like he does give me the answer on why things happened the way it did. So that's why I'm doing this video, to try to help some other people maybe even want to have a relationship with Him. So I'm going to give my story time. So I'm going to start with what kind of led me to finding Him, which was two things going on. Now, okay, this is, again, I was 19. So this is the year of 2020. Okay? 2020 that's when the pandemic started, right? But nothing I was going through really involved the pandemic. I wasn't upset about it or bothered by it, because I was already an introvert. Listen, it did not bother me to stay home, because I was already doing that. So that wasn't an issue for me. I had other things going on during that time that brought me to my relationship with Him. So to start it off, I was going through a breakup. Okay? This is the end of May, almost June of 2020. So that's the first thing. The second thing was, that is when I first left college. I basically dropped out, okay? Now I have two stories on that, because I dropped out that time, and then I dropped out again. And I'm going to talk about, the importance of college, and why you should go and why you shouldn't go, because there's different reasons for that, and I feel like, you know, society may have it to look a certain way, like you have to go, but it really depends. It really depends. But I want to talk about that. Both of those experience, both of my college experience, and why you should and shouldn't go in another video. But this is the first time. This is the first time I left school. Okay, so I have these two things going on. I left school and I just went through a breakup. All right, so those two issues caused me to deal with a lot of anxiety. Now, I've already dealt with anxiety before. I always do. I deal with social anxiety at times, but this was the worst anxiety because it was just very, very continuous. It was like my mind was just spinning with thoughts. So, you know, every time I think of something, something else come up. So it's like, you know, what it was, I'm gonna put both of these causes in the situation, right? So this is what's going on. I'm in a relationship. Okay, I just heard something go pop and I don't know what that was. I don't know if y'all heard that. Because I'm not home right now. I'm in a parking lot and I'm about to get out of here. But you know what? I'm a trust God. I trust God. You know, it didn't get me, whatever it was. If it was a bullet, I got God with me. I got this bracelet right here. It says, "Who is Jesus to you?" And I keep this with me. I keep it with me whenever I go out because of situations like this or car accidents. Like I ask God to keep me safe in situations like this, you know. So I keep this bracelet on, especially when I go out. But you know, I keep it around me at home, y'all. When I go in the shower, I'm telling you, when I go in the shower, I keep it right beside the shower in the stand. I'm like, Lord, please don't let me fall. Okay, that's how good my relationship with God has been. But I'm supposed to be, what am I supposed to be doing? Okay, I'm supposed to involve what caused this anxiety. So with this breakup, this relationship that I was in, I wasn't in a good place by myself. And I got another video. I'm gonna do another video on self-love. It's gonna be based on the importance of self-love, because that's important. But in this particular relationship that I'm talking about, I did not have self-love. This is a situation where I loved this person more than I loved myself, which is possible, but it's not good. It's not good. And I had to learn that the hard way. But, you know, like I said, I love this person more than I love myself. And when this person broke it off with me, I went downhill. And because I kind of included this person, you know, within my life and within my future, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, we're going to be together. We're going to have, you know, this amount of kids. We're going to live in this city or whatever, you know, and now it's like, I didn't plan a life without this person. So it's like, well, what am I going to do now? So that's one thing. And then the other thing, leaving college, it's like I was saying, this society makes it look like, you know, you gotta go. You know, they make it seem like if you don't go to college, you're not gonna have anything, you're not gonna be anything, you're not gonna be successful and stuff like that. That's the way they make it look nowadays. And so that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you know, well, I'm not in college anymore, so again, what now? What am I gonna do? Who am I gonna be? Like, am I gonna be flipping burgers for the rest of my life? Like, which I've never done. I haven't done that yet. But you know, that's basically the things that were going on in my head. Okay, these are the things that I was thinking. So I dealt with a lot of anxiety because of that. You know, I just didn't know what was next, what was next for me, what was next in my life, what I was going to do, who I was going to be. I didn't know any of those things. So my mind just kept spinning, trying to figure it all out. And eventually that brought me into my depression. Okay, so what happens with the depression is that I'm tired. I'm tired of spending all my time thinking of all of these different things and dealing with this anxiety, and just kind of, I'm tired of stressing myself out. So that brought me to a depression where the best thing for me to do was to sleep. That was the best thing. That was the only way I could really turn it off, was to just go to sleep. And I was at a point in my life where, y'all, I took like a knife, and I would scratch around my wrist with the knife, because I just did not like where I was in my life at that time. And it was a situation where I was trying to make the physical pain worse than the emotional pain. You know what I'm saying? Because emotional pain could be tough. Emotional pain can hurt. Well, not that I can't hurt, but it does hurt. Emotional pain, sometimes it's just as bad as the physical one. But I did do that. I did try that. Didn't help. But now, for me, like I said, I just did the little scratches, just enough to, see a little line, to see a little mark. But I wasn't bleeding. I didn't go that far. Now, I didn't go that far, but I tried it to see if it would make my emotional pain stop, and it didn't. That wasn't even in my notes. I didn't even put that part in my notes about the knife and the scratching myself. But as I'm explaining this story, some of this stuff is coming back to me on where I really was at that time in my life. But I went through some time, like I said, with my head spinning. My head was spinning with so many thoughts going on, because it was like, I'm trying to explain this off the top of my head, because my notes only have bullet points, but I'm trying to explain the whole story. But with my head spinning, it was just back to back thoughts. So for college, it's like, I'm not in college anymore. So I'm not going to ever have a career, and I'm not going to have enough finances. I'm not going to make enough money to do all of these different things that I dreamed about. Those are the type of thoughts that I was having. But let me tell you where God came in at. One day, I honestly felt like all of those thoughts I was having stopped. I tell you what it was like. It was like, I might insert a video of me doing this, but it was like a coin that you just spin on the table. That would have represent my mind, my thoughts. And then you just put your finger on it, and it stops, and it just flattens. That represent God. And I really believe that is what happened. And one day, all of those thoughts just stopped. Now, that's not to say that I don't deal with anxiety anymore. I still deal with anxiety, but those particular issues, the breakup and the problem with leaving school, those issues went down. And I really believe that God just put his finger on my head and made it stop. Alright, y'all, I hear that's the fire truck. So now I don't know if what I heard was like a gunshot. I ain't going home that way. I know that. I'm going back that way. But thank God I'm not involved in it. But I really do believe that God did put his hand on me to make that depression go away. Or at least die down in the anxiety. Now, after that, I was going on YouTube, and I started to see, like, I was watching, videos on, I guess, this is 2 years ago. This is almost 3 years ago. So y'all, bear with me a little bit. So I believe that I went on YouTube to try to find videos to make me feel better. I guess I was looking up videos about getting over anxiety or depression, or maybe the breakups and stuff like that. And I began to see, or like find or run into videos that talked about the universe and manifesting. So I watched a few videos on that for a little while. I wouldn't say I was really fully into it, but I did watch a few different videos about those type of things, about the universe and manifesting. And if you write it down a certain amount of times and you really work on it, you're gonna get things like that. And then eventually one day this video came up, and it was Sarah Jakes Roberts. Okay, she had a sermon that was called Girl Get Up. Now, at that time, I didn't know it was a sermon. I didn't know she was a pastor. I didn't know her at all. But this video just kept popping up on my recommendations on YouTube. In the video, it's about, it's like 40 minutes long. So I'm like, I ain't really, I wasn't feeling it. I'm like, man, I ain't got time to watch that. And if I knew she was a pastor, I probably definitely would not have watched it. I'm like, I already felt some type of way about pastors, but they definitely all don't preach the same. So, it's good to go out and find, experience different ones, because one may resonate with you. Some may resonate with you more than others. But finally, I said, you know what, fine, I'm gonna watch it. I'm thinking it's like one of those TED Talk videos. I'm thinking she's gonna go up there and say something motivational, which she did. It was motivational. But I didn't know she was gonna involve God. I didn't know it was a sermon. I didn't know she was a pastor. So I watched the video, and what I would say about her, she's very good for the youth, for the younger people. I made this video. I talk about me finding God as a teenager. Again, I was 19 at the time. And she was very funny. She was very funny. I'm trying to figure out how much do I want to say. But, I watched the video. I watched the sermon. And I started to watch more sermons that she did. Okay. And then I found out that she was the daughter of Bishop T.D. Jakes, which I know him from my grandmother. I know my grandmother used to watch him on TV. So then I started watching him. And then Sarah, her husband, is a pastor as well, and I watch him as well. And now it's like her and her husband, they have a church. They have a church. And then her dad has his church. And now I just watch all of them. I watch all of the different pastors that preach within those two different churches. But it's really the messages that I've heard them preach about that's really brought me closer to God. It was the sermons and the messages that they had, because they made so much sense, you know? They just made so much sense, and a lot of those things really resonated with me. I honestly feel like whenever they post a video or whatever sermon I watch, like there's something in there that resonate with me. Now I will say, you know, not every single message is going to be for you, but I feel like with them is always that one thing that's relatable, that kind of keeps it going. But I've had sermons that I've watched within them, and you know, that were emotional, that I cried to, because I'm like, yeah, I resonate with that one for sure. So there are some of them that I have a deeper connection with, really. So I really believe that from the start of that video, that first sermon, that's what really brought me closer to God. And you know, they pick all of these different parts of the Bible, you know, these verses in the Bible, and you know, going over those are what made me started reading the Bible for myself. You know, I would whatever verse they were reading, I would, you know, find it in my Bible and read along, and then eventually I went ahead, I started from the beginning, and I read the whole thing. And I want to talk about that in another video, but I read the whole thing within 4 months. I've read the whole Bible. And I'm going to show you my Bible, because my Bible is big. It belonged to my great grandmother, so I'm using it now. I remember me and her and my grandmother and my two aunts, we would have our little girls' night Bible study, and that's the Bible she had, and now I have it, and I've read it once, and I plan on reading it again. I am going to read it again. I've actually just started right now. This time I'm just going to listen. I'm not exactly following along with the words and reading it like I did the first time. I just listen to it. I have an app that reads it for me. But I'll talk about that in the other video, because this video is already getting long. But that's basically my experience. So to shorten it up, to summarize it, you know, I went through this breakup. I went through dropping out of college. I went through anxiety, you know, being anxious, just not knowing where my life was going to go, which brought me to the depression, which brought me to trying to get over it, you know, overcome it, and trying to go on YouTube and find some different ways, some different ideas. And that's when I started learning about the universe and manifesting. And then I found Sarah Jakes Roberts, her Girl Get Up sermon, and I'm gonna try to put the link here in the description, so you guys can see it too, if you want to see what really started my journey with God, and you know, started me with reading the Bible. So that's really how it helped me, how I found my relationship with God. So again, this started within the end of May, beginning of June. I'm gonna say June. This really started in June. Yeah, so I'm gonna say it started in June. When I found God, that was more in December. Okay, that was more in December. And then yeah, so about 6 months. after everything had happened. And what I will say is another 6 months after that, that's when things started to really clear up and shift on my breakup for sure. I kind of figured out, I felt like God was giving me answers to why it happened and why it went the way it did. And you guys will see that. If you want to know more about that, I will have a video on my breakup, how I got over it. You will also see that in the importance of self-love video I do. I will talk about, God kind of giving me some answers that I'm going to share with you guys on why that relationship did not work out. It's one of those situations where God will shift something that was negative. How do they say it? I can't remember how they say it, but it's a situation where he takes something that was meant to be negative in your life, or take something that was meant to be bad and kind of shift it around for your good, something like that. It's some kind of way that they say it, but that's what God has shown me within that breakup and within that relationship. And now I just, like I said, I keep him around. I keep this bracelet, or this wristband. I keep him around as much as possible, and I try to thank him in advance, for different things that go on, even things that, I don't necessarily agree with. I keep him around for things like that because of what he's already done, and what he's already shown me. Like I said, with the breakup, this is one thing that really, really brought me down. And it's like, now I see why it had to happen. And I feel like God is the reason why I'm here and I'm doing this video and all these other videos, trying to help other people, try to tell my story on things, because I feel like people need to hear this, and I feel like God told me that people need to hear experience like this, that of what I went through. And I talked about this a little bit in my intro, and I'm going to make it quick. But I talked about me dealing with anxiety and depression and low self-esteem and stuff like that. And people like that, you don't typically think of them coming on here and doing YouTube videos, putting their life on camera, for many people to see. Most people like me who are introverts and stuff like that, they don't want anybody to see this. So it's different for me. It's a new experience for me, but I just keep God within it, because I feel like he wants me to do this. So if God called me to do this, then that's what I'm going to do, regardless of what type of fear and anxiety comes from it. I know he's going to help me with it. He's going to get me through it. As of right now, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling any type of fear or anxiety. Now, when I post it and people start seeing it, maybe, but I feel good in the moment. But I just wanted to come on here and share my experience with God, especially at a young age. I'm 21 now. I will be 22 this year. And, I feel like no matter what has happened to me, no matter how many bad things that have happened to me, I feel like my life has still been better having this relationship with God. So I hope this gives you the answer, that if anybody was looking to see or know if there's a difference or what's it like, it's been better for me. It's definitely been better. Is there anything else I want to say? I will say it takes time. It may take time for you to fully build this relationship with God and trust him. But like I said, for me now, it has been almost 3 years. So, it has taken time, but now I kind of look for him during good and during bad. I keep him around. But if you're interested in more videos like this, in my description I will have my advisor playlist, and all of those videos relating to my relationship with God will be in that advisor playlist. Or you can go on to my channel and go under playlist or my homepage, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you will see I have a video. All my playlists are on my homepage, or the playlist, a little tab. It's not a button really, but a tab that says playlist, and you can find the advisor playlist in there as well. I also give tips like this on my personal Instagram page. You will see little short clips about it. And then my business TikTok page and my business Pinterest page will have short clips like this as well. But of course, the full videos are only here on YouTube. But I hope this is beneficial. I hope everyone learns something about having this relationship with God, especially at a young age. You know, because I would say if you're trying to have a relationship with God, you don't really want to wait until you're going through something. You don't want to wait until that midlife crisis hits you, you know. So if you are a teenager now, or if you're in this younger age, in your 20s or even in your 30s, you know, I would say go for it. Go for it. But I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.